So, okay, I'll get in it.
Okay, that's a good idea.
You were telling me the story about when you knew from your first conversation with Marge that she would be a good fit. Can
Yes.
we start there?
Absolutely. I joined the board on a Thursday after much persuasion by our former minister. And when I got to the training on Saturday, he had already left the congregation. Don't need to go into details, it doesn't matter. It was divine order. But the women who were here from Unity Village said that they knew a minister in Colorado who was kind of on a little bit of a sabbatical right at the moment. And that we should call her. Her name was Dr. Marge Britt. And there were three of us board members left. Half of the board resigned also. So we all called Marge. And I just had a feeling, just from what I heard about her, that she would be the one to come and rescue a church which was really in distress, which we were. So I talked to her and I interviewed her, and there was about 3 questions that I asked, and then we told Jewish jokes because I happen to be Jewish and I'm standing in front of the Jewish Star. But we talked about jokes for half an hour, and we just got a feeling for each other. And I said, Marge, you should come and see our property. Today is Palm Sunday, and she came here on Palm Sunday 29 years ago today to give her first talk. Now, she told me that she wouldn't take a full-time position here, that she would only come and stay 6 months to see if we could develop a tithing consciousness and, more importantly, a prayer consciousness here. And she came and we made an agreement, and she was very gracious with us, and we had what we called our sacred transition period. I asked her what we were going to do first. She said, we're going to pray. I said, what? And she said, yep, we're going to have a sacred transition period for maybe 6 months and see what transpires. And we took a little board retreat down to Ben Brown's in Aliso Beach. And we put 550 stick-em notes up on the wall about what we wanted to envision here. And brings a little tear to my eye to say that this is what we envisioned here almost 30 years ago. And I became board president, and I decided that I was going to stay on the board as long as Marge was senior minister, because I hired her, and it was one of the best things I've ever done, and I really liked working with her. She was my mentor and probably my greatest spiritual teacher, and she needed support on the board. I always gave it to her, and we always ended up doing the right thing. I was just telling somebody the story. We must have made 1,000 decisions in that period of time. We met sometimes for 4 or 5 hours at a time for a board meeting. And of all those thousands of votes that we took to pass this or pass that, we went into prayer on almost all of them because there was some dissension or some difference of opinion. And with the exception of 1 or 2 times, we were always unanimous through prayer that we ended up doing the right thing. And this is an amazing place, irrespective of our involvement here. The energy was good before we got here. We just brought in more of it. And like I say, it's one of the most enjoyable things and probably the most important thing I ever did. This is our spiritual home. It's Marge's spiritual home. We adopted Site 6, which her lovely son Bud, who was a dear friend, built and then sadly passed away. So we've been taking care of it and keeping his memory alive here. And it's just been it's a beautiful experience, which we want to continue. This is our spiritual home from now on. And it's so great. Oops.
Okay, we're still on.
And it's so great that we were able to be here today. So we just love her and bless her, and we see the Christ in her every time we meet.
Thank you, Arnie. Can I ask you one more question?
Sure.
Okay, so this week, and I put a little bit on that about that in the Call by Love newsletter. I don't think I had realized that you had plans before March came to build something on the big lawn that would have destroyed Victoria House.
Well, the church, when they hired the architect, had a plan, 3-stage plan. The first was to build a small sanctuary because the people who were running the church at the time didn't feel the need for a larger church at the time. So we had about 35 members. Then the next stage of the plan would have been to build a sanctuary here to hold 300 people, which would have required tearing down both of the antique houses.
That's why.
And there was also a plan to build a social hall in the back of the property to have social events. Once we started looking at expanding the congregation and expanding the sanctuary, we realized we didn't want to sacrifice these two beautiful homes, which are historic sites,
Yes.
to the process. And we didn't really want to become a super mega church. So we decided to take the small sanctuary. We had certain limitations on it, but we expanded it out rather than rebuilt it. And it's serving us perfectly. It was a beautiful, we didn't sacrifice anything.
Right.
One of our goddesses in the goddess group, Deborah Jordan, said that we shouldn't build anything on the back where the children's garden is because it was a kiva.
It
which is
was?
a kiva, a very special site, spiritual site. She said if you do anything back there, it must be dedicated to the children.
Wow.
Because of the energy. And that's what we did.
And
It's
what
a
was her
children's
name?
garden now. Deborah Jordan. She ran our bookstore way back when.
Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So without you, not only we wouldn't have March, but we wouldn't have the garden. So you're a big part of it.
let's just say that I was God's worker, the worker bee.
And thank you for taking such good care of Site 6.
We love Site 6.
It's going to be 18 years.
I know. We just did some repair work on it, and we're going to paint it again. I touched it up a little bit. We'll probably repaint it into the summer, maybe in the fall. And we planted some new plants around it. We take good care of it. It's
Yes.
a joy for us.
Yeah. And
God
thank
bless,
you
bud.
again for the Christmas we shared together. That remains a special memory for me too.
Very good. Love you.
Yeah. Mwah.